Well, hello again to GBN America. I'm delighted to welcome Laura Ballman this afternoon, who is an expert in everything to do with foreign affairs and national security. Laura, you've got an incredibly impressive career, 20 years of public service doing secret things, and so the ideal person to consult on these matters. One of the things I want to discuss with you is the United States' relationship with Russia, particularly in light of President Putin's recent comments about AI being a bit of a Western plot. How do you think the free world should respond to that?
AI is the next frontier in intelligence. I mean, there's no question. And I appreciate the opportunity to comment on it because this is Putin's he's a fantasist if he thinks that this is a Western plot. Russian scientists and engineers are working on AI just as much as we are, and they should be, frankly. It is the future of intelligence. And as a sign of how serious Moscow takes this, a few months ago, two leading Russian scientists and researchers in quantum computers, which is a significant part of AI, were accused by the Russian government of spying for China. Both of these men, who were working out in Siberia, far from Moscow, but on incredibly important work, one disappeared and one was found dead. So I think we can agree that Putin is being disingenuous at best.
At best, and he thinks that it's going to be used for the cancellation of Russian culture, but he also wants other countries to work to try and stop there being an American/Western monopoly. But that's going to be very hard for him to do if he's not able to work with the Chinese, I would have thought.
Absolutely. I mean, it is preposterous. It is. Can we say it's Potemkin? It is just. It is the idea that Vladimir Putin, who is leading a charge to wipe out Ukrainian cultural heritage and the Ukrainian existence off the face of the planet, that he would then turn around and say that AI is a cultural heritage issue that Russia needs to protect, that Moscow needs Russian values, which, if we think about it, that means authoritarianism and disinformation. In the first part of 2023, the White House, in partnership with its Director of National Intelligence, put out its annual threat assessment, and one that it coordinates closely with our UK partners. And among the greatest threats are what's called digital authoritarianism and malign influence. And Putin's argument that this is a Russian values issue goes to the heart of authoritarianism and misinformation. That's what he's trying to advance. You might recall.
And do you think?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you think Russia actually has the real capability to develop AI? Because its economy is relatively weak, certainly been weakened by the war in Ukraine and the sanctions, that the population is declining. Even during the end of the Cold War, Russia's competitiveness with the West had fallen strongly behind. So is it realistic for Russia to think it can do this, or it has the capability to do this for itself?
Yes, it does, unfortunately. I would like to say it doesn't. But consider the infamous troll farm, the benignly titled Russian Internet Research Agency. That is not just a farm of cyber trolls. That's also where research is done into AI. And AI, we speak about it in a. On one hand, we speak about it as something that we're familiar with, that's in our smartphones and we interact with every day. On the other hand, we speak about it and should be thinking about its potential uses as an offensive weapon. You might recall 6 months ago, Elon Musk and several other leading technologists wrote a public letter calling for a 6-month pause in AI research. It wasn't paused, but certainly it called attention to this issue. And in terms of Russia having the capability to, I can tell you when I ran a counterintelligence division at our Department of Energy that included all of our national research labs, I can tell you that absolutely Russian scientists are among the top scientists and researchers in the world. Their government is atrocious. Their government steals their work. So whether the economy is doing well or not is pretty immaterial. Have you seen the movie Oppenheimer? I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Oh no, I haven't, but I've obviously read about it. Yes.
Okay, well, the movie Oppenheimer presents what I think is an interesting analogy of how the nuclear weapon research issues were conducted between the West and the East. Both were in competition, neck and neck. Luckily, we, quote unquote, won, if one can actually win a nuclear race. And we're in a similar situation right now. China is phenomenal at this. Russia is, I would say Russia, China, and Iran are the greatest cyber threats right now to the West, to the UK, EU, and United States.